Hi, Jerry. Welcome to Crypedia. We're in a hurry today.
Hello, we are. How are you?
Good. So, hey, I got a story to tell you.
Go. Tell me.
This is a story about a very young man who got his first sexual education experience.
Okay.
His name is Tate. And one day there was a woman named Cherry who was holding him. And this little boy named Tate decided to go and grab a boob. And not only did he grab a boob, he squeezed a boob.
He did squeeze a boob. He did. and then on Valentine's Day, Cherry sent him his very first Valentine's Day card with a picture of said boob squeezing on the front of it. Bless him.
I think you're his very first girlfriend.
I am. I'm very proud to be his very first girlfriend. He is the cutest baby ever. He's so gorgeous. So gorgeous.
He's going to be a big boy, too.
He's going to be big. He's very tall already, and he's only tiny. He's not even a year old yet, and he's already getting tall.
That's crazy.
He's got the cheekiest little laugh. Like, he's got such a cute laugh. When I speak to his mum on the phone, you can hear him in the background, and he's like, she goes, "Oh, look, it's your girlfriend on the phone." And he's like, blah, 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 talking away. It's really cute. Really cute. Yeah. I'm going to see them for the weekend soon, which will be amazing. I can't wait to see them. Yeah. He's grown loads.
Yeah, you haven't seen him in a while.
No, I think I saw him Halloween. Yeah, Halloween weekend I saw him. So I'm going to go and see him again soon. Before he gets too big.
Next thing you know, he's going to be like 18.
I know. And then I've been taking him to the pub. That'd be amazing.
Oh, my God. Knowing his dad, you might not want to do that.
No, probably not. I'm going to get him to drink girly drinks like me so that there's no beer at all involved. Bless him.
Oh,
I'm hoping he's going to grow up and be a rugby player. So me and his mum get tickets to the rugby.
You think? You think
yeah.
He'll be a rugby player?
Or maybe a football player, and then we can get tickets to the football. So that would be quite cool.
But
Either
which
way.
Football?
Well, American football. Either way, it's a winner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool. We can get tickets to go and watch on the sidelines. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Then he can introduce me to like all his like crazy hot teammates and go like, "This is my Auntie Cherry." Like, she's really cool. She's the cool auntie. We'll see. This is hard.
So how's it been going?
Yeah, good, thank you. Not too bad. So we had news this week that the body there was a body found in the river. You know, we talked about the Nicola Bulley case. Yep. There was a body found in the river, and unfortunately, it's now been identified as that of Nicola Bulley. So they did find her in the river in the end. And there's all sorts of, at the moment, there's a lot of finger pointing going on in the British press against our friend Peter, saying that he, basically said that there was no way that the body would be in the water, but they failed to understand that actually he didn't check in the reeds of those parts of water. The police did. So I think the police are blaming him for not finding her, and he's saying, well, that's not actually my fault, and the press are going in on him. So it's a bit harsh at the minute, but I've been looking over CrimeCon photos. Obviously, we saw Peter at CrimeCon. That's the last time I saw him was at CrimeCon. I missed his book launch because I wasn't here. But I was looking over CrimeCon photos this weekend of the last CrimeCon that we did, and we had so much fun. When I look back at the photos, we did have such a good time.
Yeah.
And you meet some very nice. Yeah, he's a really good guy. He's a really, really nice guy, and his intentions are honourable. A lot of people have been being mean to him in the press, saying that he only went to help them to further his book launch and all this stuff.
No.
But if you actually met Peter, you'd understand he does so much for the general public that no one even knows about. Nothing. It's not even publicized what he does. He provides lifeguards to school, not lifeguards, the vest things, the life vests. To schools that are near water, because of a young boy that they had to recover from the water. There's lots of things that he does that he doesn't tell anybody about. He's a really, really nice guy, and I hate to see him being vilified in the press the way he is.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
I mean, and to be fair, I mean, yeah, he has a book coming out, but it's not like he needs this book to do well for him to be successful. He's already successful.
Yeah, I mean, his record of finding bodies and his records of he's helped on some major cases in the UK that people don't even realise that he was integral part of. So he doesn't need the book sales. He doesn't need that kind of stuff. But
No,
I hate seeing people saying nasty things about him, and I think the press just. I don't think they shouldn't have got involved in all of that the way they did.
I found him to be extremely down to earth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I found him very easy to talk to.
Yep.
And very interesting.
He's a very, very nice man. Hugely talented, very, very knowledgeable in his field. And just a really, really nice guy.
What's telling about him too is, sometimes you meet people that are successful in their field and are well known in their field.
Mm.
And they end up, you have conversations, and then the conversations just really turn into them talking about themselves and all the great stuff that they've done. Talking to him, he was just as interested in you and me as more so than what he has done.
Definitely. He's just genuinely really nice guy. He doesn't really offer information about what he does unless you ask him. So you would sit with him at a bar and he wouldn't really mention anything about he doesn't talk about cases. So he's very, very trustworthy. He's a very trustworthy man. If you ask him not to mention something, he won't. He's not one of those people. He doesn't sensationalize his job. He's an amazing man, and I hate seeing him being ripped apart in the press. I mean, he's got a thick skin. He won't. But
it won't bother
you can
him.
only take so much, of bad press. It's not fair. It's really, really not fair on him because he's a good guy.
Let me ask you about Nicola Bulley real quick. Have they announced anything else besides finding her body? They haven't announced the cause of death?
They've said that her death at the moment is unidentified. And they have said that they opened the inquest, the coroner's inquest, and they literally only opened it to basically then adjourn it. So they've opened it and said that it needs more information, and that they've adjourned it until I think June. And they've said that they need to go back over the coroner's reports. They need to go back over the investigations into the post-mortem, because at the moment it's unidentified as to why she died. So that's very telling. I think that's quite telling because I mean, obviously her family didn't have to identify her. She was identified through dental records, which is understandable given that she was in water for 3 weeks.
Well, maybe 3 weeks.
Well, maybe 3 weeks, exactly. We don't know whether the cause of death was drowning. We don't know whether the cause of death was asphyxiation. We don't know what the toxicology report says. We're not sure. I honestly think that the police know more than obviously what they're telling us, because they were adamant she went into that water. They were adamant and it said that in all of the media stuff that I read, it was saying she entered the water. And to me, that means she voluntarily entered the water. She wasn't pushed or, and I think that they've either found something to say that, whether they found a note or whether they found pills or something somewhere, I'm not sure. It reminds me of a case that I looked at a while ago, where a lady took I can't remember what, it wasn't paracetamol, but it was, a lady took a number of like over the counter medication before, because you wouldn't just walk into a river and drown yourself. It doesn't work like that. Your body isn't equipped to do that. Your body will fight, whether or not your brain is saying I would like to die. Your body will fight that thing. That's just what your body does. It's a defense mechanism. So you wouldn't just walk in the water, lie down and drown. So this lady, she obviously understood this. So she took a number of pills, and then she passed out in the water, which then meant she drowned. So that's how she drowned herself. And that was in a shallow body of water, a bit like this river. And so unless something like that has happened and the police have then found the pill packets or something, and they haven't put that out in the press, then they were adamant that she was in that water. They were adamant that she had gone in. So I would say there's a lot more that we don't know about this case, to be honest. And obviously Peter didn't know either, because they didn't tell him. So I find that very strange. I find it very strange that you have somebody of Peter's caliber that comes in to help on a job like that, and you don't give him all the information that you have. I don't understand how he's supposed to do his job if he hasn't got all the information. It's difficult, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's a horrible case to be part of, a mother, a girlfriend, a daughter, a sister. It's just horrible. It's a horrible thing to have to, and it's a horrible discovery for the people that found her too. I mean, that's awful. They'll never forget that. It's really sad.
No.
Really, really sad.
A really sad case. Yeah, I was actually talking to Captain about this case yesterday. He was talking about how in the UK he couldn't get away from it. It was being talked about.
It was everywhere.
Yeah, when he was over in the UK, he said like you'd pull up YouTube and like everybody had Nicola Bulley case, videos.
Yeah.
And then he comes back here and nothing. Don't hear anything about it. No stories about it. No one's talking about it.
But now that's happened here. Like the minute the body was found, within a couple of days, nothing on the news anymore. And it was literally every news bulletin, every time you looked at a newspaper, every time you clicked on YouTube, TikTok, it was everywhere. Instagram, absolutely. You just couldn't get away from it.
Disgusting though? It's disgusting because all it is about getting those views, right? They get their views, they have their story, and then we don't need this anymore. The story's not over.
Exactly. One thing that I found that was really annoying about that was the clickbait on the websites, on the news websites. It would have things like police head diver pulls out of search, like for Peter. Well, he didn't pull out of the search. He did what they asked him to do. So they asked him to search a certain area, which he did, and then he had finished doing that, didn't find her.
Right.
So that was it. But in the newspapers, it was like he dramatically pulled out of the search. And then other things like
he's a diva.
Yeah. And then other things like, Nicola's family will have to identify her body. Now it's been found. And it's not. That wasn't the case. And anybody that's got any sort of knowledge of police procedure whatsoever will know that if a body has been, they wouldn't do that to the family. If the body is in such a state that it's going to be difficult for the family to view, they would do everything they can to identify that body without having to put that onto a family member.
Right. Oh yeah.
Everything. So, what do you do? Can you hear that? I think my neighbours are doing some DIY next door. Oh, God.
No, I don't.
Okay,
hold on. Let's go quiet. Hold on.
They've stopped now.
No, I didn't hear anything.
Oh, I'm hoping maybe it was just their little boy banging on the wall, maybe. Oh, God. It would be today, wouldn't it? So that's, and now it's just completely sort of disappeared. Unless you actually search the name Nicola Bulley, now it's completely disappeared, which I just think is just horrendous.
I hate that.
I still think there's more to this story than we know. I think there's more that they haven't told us, as in like the family haven't said, as in the husband or the boyfriend hasn't said. There's more to this. I think it still doesn't explain how she got in that water, and it still doesn't explain how she died and why she died. Everybody, as a human, you just want to know why. You just want to know why this happened. And I don't think, unless they've got a note from her, it's never going to be found. And I feel for her family because they did get a lot. I don't know why this case particularly got so much attention, because there's lots of people that go missing in the UK every day. I'm not sure why this one gained so much attention and so much momentum in the press. I'm not sure. I mean, the Wikipedia page was picked up really quickly within her going missing. All of a sudden, someone had created a Wikipedia page for it. I mean, it's mad.
That's insane.
It's insane, and it's very sad. And I wonder, did she take off? And then because of what happened in the press and because everything was good, did she then think, I've got no way out of this? And then that's when, if she took her own life, if that's when. It'd be interesting to see the timeline of what they believe happened at what time. Because I'm not 100% convinced that she went into the water the day she went missing.
Right.
I think they would have found her.
She would not have gone that far. There's no way she could have, because she was found a mile down river?
A mile down the river.
Her body wouldn't have gone that far.
Know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an expert in that. It's a non-tidal. I don't know if it was past the weir. I don't know if it was past the weir where it became tidal that she was found. I'm not sure. But I don't know. I'm not an expert in that kind of stuff, so I'm not sure. I would look at it and think, no, there's no way. But I mean, I guess, and you'd have to ask an expert about that. But something just doesn't feel right about it. Something just doesn't feel. It just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't add up to me. Still, I don't know.
No, it doesn't.
And I wonder if we'll ever know. It is a really strange one. I've got a really strange one for you today. Actually, today's case is quite a strange one. Yeah, one I've had, and another one apparently. That this is one of the oldest cases of this police force. I've never heard of it. It's a case I accidentally stumbled across this while looking up another case. And I read it and I was like, what? This is mental. And so I thought, I've definitely got to do this one. And I was talking to our friend Zoe about it this week. And she was like, what? That's really weird. And it's a really strange case. I thought, I'll do that one this week because I think you'll enjoy listening to it. Listen to it.
That's good. So I have something for you, okay, before we get going. So I was thinking about doing this for a dumb criminal, but I'm not, just because, because we don't know who this person is. So, but I'm going to tell you here, and this will be our super secret Crimepedia Extra only,
okay,
dumb criminal. Okay. So I'm going to send you a picture and I'm going to see.
I'm going to look for it.
I want you to tell me what you see, okay?
Okay.
Disco ball.
Oh, hang on. That's not it.
Disco ball.
What is that? Oh, there it is. You sent it to me now. CCTV?
Yes.
Of someone's house?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything
Am I
else?
looking at it? Oh, hang on. There's a man in the bushes.
All right.
Yeah, there's a man hiding in the bushes, or looks like there's somebody in the bushes.
Yes, it looks like he's hiding in the bushes, but he's not hiding in the bushes. Okay, let me. I'm going to read this to you, okay?
Okay.
Person runs off with entire tree. Light bulb on doorbell camera near Hilliard, okay?
Yeah.
So this was last Wednesday. A video recorded Monday night showed someone with an entire tree on their back stealing a light bulb from a home near Hilliard. But the two things weren't the only things taken, okay? So Columbus police were called.
That is crazy.
Suspicious person, and began investigating on the 3000 block of Kilcullen Drive. The caller told police that a man with long hair and a camo shirt was there and carrying some kind of tree branch behind his head.
It looks like he's hiding in there, but
it's not.
Yeah, it's
not just a tree branch.
It's a whole damn tree. Yeah, it's a whole tree.
Here, let me send you this one. We can get a better look at him.
I love this doorbell stuff.
So,
the stuff you pick up on doorbell cams is amazing.
So he has this tree stuffed like in the back of his, like, it looks like he's wearing a hoodie or something.
Yeah, it's in the back of his hoodie, isn't it? Yeah. It's coming out by his bum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the couple who caught this man on the doorbell camera said that the man approached their home about 9:30 p.m.
He walked
up to the home's front porch with an entire tree stuffed into the back of his sweatshirt. The person went directly for the light and to the left of the doorbell and unscrewed it from the socket.
That is crazy.
So all he did was he stole a light bulb, and he had a whole tree in his sweatshirt. And it's dumb too because you can see who it is.
Yeah, you can see him 100%.
Oh,
that's crazy, isn't it?
They end up figuring out that the stolen tree actually came from the same neighborhood. Someone had cut down her redbud tree overnight,
and then he used it
to disguise himself.
What's wrong with people? Obviously, this person's got no brains. Just for a light bulb. I mean, seriously, it's less effort to go down to the shop and buy one, isn't it?
Right.
It's less effort to just go and buy one rather than trying to steal one.
Yeah,
I'm not trying not to be distracted, but France are playing Scotland in the Six Nations, so I kind of have you both on the screen at the same time.
Yeah. But here's the thing. This story, gets weirder, right? So we know about this one man who did this. Okay.
Yeah.
There was another person who did the exact same thing, the exact same night.
Goodness.
So there were two people. Oh, maybe, yeah.
They know each other. He needed 2 light bulbs, so he's gone out for one and sent his other half out for the other one. The damn light's gone again. That's crazy.
Oh my God. Isn't that amazing?
Crazy. It is. That's a good one. I like that.
So there's our Crimepedia Extra Dumb
Criminal. I love it. Thank you for that.
If we were able to name him or like say, yeah, he was caught, I would totally have done this, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's still good.
Yeah, it's a good one. No, it's a good one. It's good. Bless him.
That's a good one.
Right then. We're on a time limit. Let's get going on our case.
All right. Let's do it.
Goodbye now.
Bye, everybody.
Welcome to Crimepedia. This is your host. I'm Terry, and I'm your host for this week. With me, as always, is my BFF. It is Morgan.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Very good, thank you. Welcome along to our show. We're here every week. We're always here. You can listen back to all our old episodes if you want to, right back to when we very first started. But they're a bit dodgy, those ones. But you can listen back if you want to. You just go back to iTunes or wherever it is you listen, Spotify, and you can hear it right back from the very beginning. So how many episodes have we got now?
I think we're on about 120. I think this might be 123, maybe.
Very good. So you can go back. We had a new listener who mentioned to me that she just started listening to our podcast, was very excited that she could go back and listen to all of our other ones. So I said it might be a good idea. Start from the beginning, because instead of getting progressively worse, then we'll just get progressively better. Otherwise, if you listen backwards, we're just going to get worse and worse and worse as we get to when everyone's podcasts are rubbish in the beginning. So
it wasn't that bad, right?
Oh, well, hopefully it wasn't that bad. I think it's better now. It's a bit smoother nowadays, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, it is. Definitely. Yeah.
Well, yes. Definitely. So some normal stuff for you. We are, of course, getting closer and closer. If you've been watching our Instagram this week, we're getting closer and closer to CrimeCon London. If you fancy going, you can get yourself some money off your tickets if you use the code Crimepedia when you get to the checkout. So definitely do that, because it gets you a bit of a discount off, and then you've got extra money to spend with us in the bar, which is great.
Yeah.
We've got some brilliant people going to be there this year. We've got some fantastic speakers and some really good interactive stuff that you're going to absolutely love. So if you do have the chance to go, I highly recommend it.
Let's be honest, who wouldn't want to go to London?
Oh, yeah.
It's a lovely place.
It is. It's a good place. And it's fun, and we're going to be there, which is even better.
Yep, exactly. London is going to be like, this is the greatest day in our history because Cherry and Morgan are here.
And Morgan's coming all the way over as well from America. So if you haven't met him yet and you didn't see him at last year's CrimeCon, then you got the chance this year. So it's not often that you get to see us both at the same time. So you definitely can. So into this week's case then, I've got a really good one for you this week. It's a very old case, as usual. It's a case from 1981. And this case has been, it's called something else in the press, but I've decided to rename it. So how do you fancy listening to this one?
I'm excited.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
On the 28th of August 1981 in Ripon, North Yorkshire, it was a hot and sunny bank holiday weekend. Ripon is a small city with a beautiful cathedral. It has a racecourse and is actually the closest city to Downtown Abbey. Ripon is sadly also known for a very different reason, which will forever be part of its history. It will be known for the case that the media dubbed the nude in the nettles. But this is Crimepedia, and this is the case of the lady in the willow herbs. Okay, Morgan, so at 8 a.m. on the 28th of August 1981, you and I were just one then. Oh, we were. Just one. A police officer, a guy called PC John Jeffries, received a phone call from it's described as a well-spoken man. Now, this man had a slight trace of a local Yorkshire accent. Okay. The call only lasted for about a minute. So it's not a very long call. Obviously, trace calls and things like that, tracing phone numbers back in 1981 wasn't as advanced as it is now. So it was understood that he was possibly calling from a telephone box. Now, the man told the officer to follow his instructions, and if he did, he would find a decomposing body. Now, this was the instructions. The instructions said, this is like word for word, near Scorton Moor House, you will find a decomposed body among the willow herbs. The officer obviously then wanted to know who was calling, where he was calling from, but as soon as he was asked for his details, he said, I can't give you that information for reasons of national security, and then hung up the call. So PC Jeffries then went to like superiors and said, okay, this has happened. This is what he said. And they told him basically to go and investigate it, go and see, go to the location that the callers described, see what you can see and let us know. So I think from reading between the lines, I kind of think they weren't expecting, they thought it was like a bit of a hoax call. They weren't actually expecting to find anything. So the police officers at Ripon police station followed these instructions given by the caller, but were unable to start with initially to find anything. They continued searching though, and then made a grisly discovery. Now the police found some bones hidden in the undergrowth near to Sutton Bank Top, which is near the junction with the A170 to Scarborough Road. Now, CID were called to come in, and they were led by Detective Chief Superintendent Strickland Carter. They searched the location to try and find the rest of the body that they had found these bones from. They removed a massive area of willow herbs over a period of about several hours. So I looked into willow herbs. There are over 197 species of willow herbs. They can grow way over like 6 foot tall. They're like thick. They're like meadow, I would say like meadow flowers. They're like thick, bushy greenery, but then they've got these pretty bright flowers all over them. So they come up quite high. And say like if somebody was hiding them, you wouldn't be able to see them unless they'd crushed them over. So you could quite easily, if you're a small kid or an adult, you can hide in there and no one would see you. So they got this big area of willow herb down and found this body of what they believed to be a woman. So the body was in an advanced state of decomposition. The police suggested that because it had been concealed under this willow herbs for all this time, they believed that it's unlikely that anybody would have ever found the body by accident because they were really well, really well concealed. Now, Scorton Moor House was a family picnic area at the time. I've looked it up online and there's no sort of pictures of it back in 1981. But there is pictures of police doing like fingertip searches there. There's no pictures of like the area because the police have never actually revealed exactly where the body was found. Okay. I think now it seems to either be a farm or farmland or like a private residence now, as far as I can see. So the woman they found was laying on her back and she was almost parallel to a dry stone wall. Her remains were mostly skeletal. She was completely naked, no clothes, no jewelry, nothing on her or around her to identify who she might be. The police did a really, really good job in this case, though, because they catalogued, which is, I don't say this very often, they catalogued every single tiny object that they found around that area, like everything. They took hours photographing the scene. They only discovered a couple of things that could be potentially significant. So there were 3 fresh tracks leading to and from the body. I believe these might have been vehicle tracks, but don't quote me on that because there isn't anything to say whether those tracks are footprints or whether they're vehicle tracks.
All
we've got tracks in the is just tracks. Okay. Now, there's another thing. There was a meat. In the police report, it says that there was a meat paste lid lying beneath the woman. So under her body, you know, like meat paste? Yeah, you know, like a meat paste.
No, I don't. Like Spam?
No, like, let's think. What do you, you know, when you have, what's that stuff called? You have it with like crackers and it's like meat that's like mushed up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
like a paste, you know, like you can get like duck liver and pate, pate.
Pate, yeah.
Yeah, so
no,
like
no,
pate.
no, no.
Yeah. So apparently there was this lid that was underneath the body. A lot of reports I've read also say that it was a yogurt pot. But I'm going with what the police wrote. So the police in their report wrote that it was a meat paste. Now, this was dated October 1979. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So 1979. Now, she was found in 1981. Okay. It obviously, like I said, it was described at some sites as a yogurt lid, but the police and other sites do actually say about this meat paste. Now, the Home Office analysis of the body and the plant growth around the body confirmed that they thought the body would have been there for a minimum of 12 months, but most likely 2 years. So we'll place her death in 1979, which actually matches up with the meat paste lid.
Okay, so let me ask you about the body. You said it was in this willow herb, which I had to kind of look up to see what they look like.
And then you can see what it looks like.
They're like in the States, we'd consider it like a flowery weed or wildflower, I'd guess.
Yeah.
Was her body, and I don't know if I heard this properly or not. Was her body like on the ground, or was it like on top of the willow weed? And the willow weed
they've grown around her. Yeah, so like she's laid down like underneath, I guess, and it's all grown up around her, so you wouldn't have seen her lay there. I think she was underneath them. So when you look at those flowers, you could probably crawl in between them, couldn't you? If you look at them, you could crawl in between them, and because they're so big, it probably wouldn't move that much. So you could probably get in and amongst it, which made me first of all think, was she homeless? And she's gone in there to try and find a safe place to sleep where, that was my first initial thought. Was she homeless and you could get in there with no one seeing her?
But it's a very, I would consider it remote, right? Where she was found, like a remote area?
It is, but it's like a place that people go for like picnics and stuff. So it's like there would be people there quite a lot.
Yeah. Huh.
So it's not like it's like the middle of the moors or something and no one's going to find her.
Right.
It is somewhere where families go for picnics and people go there to exercise and do all different sorts of things.
Yeah, but I mean, usually when I think of someone that's homeless, I think I like, well, I don't want to say I like to imagine. They tend to congregate in more urban areas.
Yeah.
Where they can have access to different services or, more people to, ask for money for them or whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, this is in 1981. So I'm wondering, then I was thinking, perhaps it's somebody who's had an argument with her husband and she's just gone out and then she's gone and slept there because it's safe and it's covered over and no one's going to find her. There's no, when you're homeless and you're sleeping in the middle of the town or something in a doorway, chances are somebody's going to, you're in a bit of a danger because people can see you. There's a chance someone's going to, spit at you or kick you or do something like that. Maybe I just wonder whether maybe she's hiding there for a reason because no one's going to find her, kind of thing.
I guess you can feel a little bit better if that was the case instead of it being the worst, where it was some woman who was murdered and
left there,
dropped off and left. Yeah.
But then I wondered, could it be that this was like, an amorous couple that were up there, in the wood, in the area, and then just like, we'll just go in the bushes and do the deed and then we're done. I wonder whether it was maybe something like that. And then something's happened and she's died. And then the guy's run off because he thought, shit, she's dead. I'm just going to leave her there because no one's going to find her. I wondered if it was something like that. But we'll come to some ideas of what possibly could have happened to her.
Yeah, I have some thoughts just from the little bit of information that I got so far. I have like some preconceived notions of what this could possibly be.
Okay.
But I'll wait for that.
Okay. Well, the cause of death obviously was very hard to determine. They were not even sure that it actually was a murder, but there were some things that we could do to rule it out. Now, some of the causes of death that can be ruled out was that there was no blunt force trauma to her head. So there was no signs that she'd been hit over the head, no signs that anything had happened of any damage to her. There was also no signs of any stabbings to or around her bones. So usually in a stabbing, particularly if it's quite frenzied, there would be signs where the knife had come into contact with bones, and there was nothing. So they kind of ruled those two out quite quickly. Now, the post-mortem of the woman's remains revealed that she had been 5'4". She had dark brown hair cut into like a page boy style. So it's only like 6 inches long maximum. She had her toenails painted with Max Factor pale pink. So we know what brand she used. Max Factor is not a cheap brand. She wore a size 4 shoe. Looking at her pelvis, which was really interesting to me at this part, looking at her pelvis, it was revealed that she had given birth at least 2 to 3 times in her life. So they know it was at least 2 babies, possibly 3. She also, this is very interesting, she also had a neck vertebrae abnormality. She would have suffered from a bad back because of this anomaly in her neck. Okay.
Yeah.
So they know that she would have suffered because of this. It would have been painful. She also had a displaced septum and she had an ankle fracture in the past. So it wasn't fractured at the time she was found, but there was a fixed, where it had already healed itself, a healed ankle fracture. All of the victim's upper teeth and all but 6 of her lower teeth were missing. Okay. She had an upper dental plate fitted. So this is somebody that has been to the dentist because she had a dental plate. She had very heavy staining on the remaining teeth in her mouth, which they believed indicated that she smoked and drank very heavily with poor oral hygiene. Now, they believe that even though she wasn't wearing a wedding ring, the police believe that she may have been married. So these are the kind of things that we know about. I don't know how they know. It doesn't say that. I couldn't find that in any of the reports how they believe she was married, but they seem to believe that she was married.
That's very strange.
Well, this kind of gives us some sort of indication of what this woman looks like, at least. What kind of state she was in. Obviously, like I said, there was no clothes found at all. So they don't know what she was wearing. They don't know whether she would be in raggy clothes or whether she would be in really good clothes. She had no shoes on, no underwear on, nothing. So it's literally just her body, which then makes me think she didn't just go there to die herself. She didn't go there and commit suicide because she's naked. She, I would say she was put there by somebody. I would wonder how she would end up there completely naked. Animals and stuff aren't going to take her clothes and take them home.
No.
So that kind of made me think then, okay, foul play straight away. That would be my first thought. So
yes,
a little while after the discovery of the body, police did find a black evening gown and some underwear hanging from a tree a mile away. However, there has been no way, even now, there has been no way to officially link that to the woman. There's no kind of DNA from the two that can link up or anything like that. So there's nothing to link that to her. Although I think that's quite strange. And it made me think, I wonder if there has been a little bit of like hanky-panky in the bushes and somebody's taken all that off of her because they don't want her to be identified and then just hung it up a mile away thinking that nobody would ever make the correlation between the two.
Yeah.
So basically, there were no further discoveries on this. The trail went cold. The media were really good in this case of getting the little information that they had out to the public. There was nothing that could identify her. No one came forward with details of missing persons that could be her. And then a few people did try and come forward, but it wasn't, it didn't work out with various different things. So obviously foul play, heavily suspected, but couldn't be definite because the police didn't have a cause of death, let alone have any kind of idea of what a potential killer could look like, could have been, what age. They're basically looking for a ghost. So the media dubbed this case, like I said before, the nude in the nettles, which I don't know why they dubbed it the nude in the nettles, because she wasn't found in nettles. She was found in willow herbs. The only thing I can think of is that it sounded better. It was a better soundbite, the nude in the nettles, than the lady in the willow herbs, which is what I chose to call this episode, because I feel like calling her a nude is disrespectful. So I renamed it the lady in the willow herbs because she deserves a bit of dignity. I mean, she died an undignified death by the looks of things. And I think the reporting of this and her legacy forevermore, I don't think it should be called that, So I changed that. And my initial thought on this was like, God, surely somebody would have smelt her there decomposing, because the decomposing smell is very, very distinctive and very strong with the human body. If you've ever smelt a badger or a fox that's decomposing, I mean, it's bad. A whole person, it's an awful smell. Now, a local jockey who had almost stumbled upon the body very close in 1979 to when we believe she might have been killed. He was out at that spot exercising horses, right? In 1979, he noticed a really foul smell emanating from the spot where the body was later discovered. He had his horse with him, so decided he would go and take the horse back and then come back and have a look. But on the way back, he fell off the horse and broke his leg.
No.
So he completely forgot about the smell and because he'd got a broken leg. And it wasn't until 1981 when this investigation was in full swing that it jogged his memory that, oh my God, I smelt that. I was there.
Yeah.
So the police believe that it's likely the jockey was in the area not long after she was killed and when her body had started to decompose. So we're talking like a couple of weeks maybe. We were talking about August time that they found her. So maybe it was around the same sort of time when it was hot and the body decomposed very quickly. And so the smell went faster.
Yeah.
You know, thinking about it though, had he had not broken his leg and had managed to get home, drop the horse off and get back, she may have been discovered very quickly and it may have been a lot easier to find out who she was.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Shame, isn't it? Because it's frustrating. Yeah. Unfortunately, he broke his leg, and it's kind of like I'm a believer that things happen for a reason, and I wonder, like in that case, he nearly discovered her, but then broke his leg and didn't get back. So that makes me think, was there a reason for that?
Yeah, that's insane.
It is. So in 1981, the police asked some medical students to construct this waxwork of the woman's face. So they, along with people, I think it was from Granada TV, the makeup department at Granada TV, they worked alongside these scientists and they built up this like waxy bust of this woman's face. And you can find that online. If you go online, you can find it. It's the only picture they've got because they don't know who she is. So they've got this waxy bust, which is a bit eerie. It's like one of those like death masks, but obviously it's not. No one came forward with anything significant. People did come forward and say, like, I think this might be my mum, I think this might be my sister, but there was nothing really to bring it forward in any significance. So in September 1983, she was then buried in Malton in North Yorkshire in a plain coffin. And the only thing that marked her grave was this small sort of stone. It's kind of like a flowery shape, I think, with a number on it. And then it says, name unknown, died August 28th, 1981. And that always makes me really sad. It makes me really sad when you've got these graves and nobody knows who that person is. That's somebody's brother, possibly. It's obviously someone's child because you have to have a mum and dad to be born. So that's someone's family and they're just there, unknown, in this coffin. No name, no anything. It's really sad.
So I'm looking at this this wax work recreation that they did, which I always find interesting. I think is the best word to describe it. Where I understand you're able to determine, you have most of the skull bone structure, right? So you can, based off of, human anatomy, we can assume this is how things are going to be placed. Yeah. But it's really best guess.
Back then, I would say yes. Now, not so much.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like, I'm like looking at her, I'm like, well, first off, they're completely guessing on the nose because there'd be no way that they would know how you wouldn't be able to tell. And then what's also, especially in 81, I'm like, how were they able to determine age of the body, right? I mean, because once you get full grown, unless you're elderly and you have signs of, bone decay, would it be really difficult to pinpoint like an age?
I don't know. Maybe back then, but I think now is a lot. I've got a friend that actually does facial reconstruction for a living. That's his job. He actually does that and rebuilds faces of skulls that they find, and it is fascinating. But it's scientific. It's not just the fact they just chuck loads of clay on. It is actually really scientific the way he does it.
Oh yeah.
The woman in this case, we know that she had a deviated septum, so we know that her nose is going to be, of a particular shape, or it's broken in a particular area. So that's one thing that they know. They know with her vertebrae that she's got this issue with her vertebrae. So that's quite telling. That's quite the characteristics that they're describing. If that was your mum or your sister, that would be something you would know. You would say, oh, like mama had that in her name. My mum's missing. My mum always had a bad back. My mum had these issues. My mum had denture plates because she had no teeth.
So,
absolutely. Like that kind of stuff is quite telling.
Like things with like a broken nose. Yeah. You wouldn't be able to tell if
it went left or it went right
if it was something that had occurred in an attack prior to death or if it had been something that had happened years before.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. It's very difficult. But I think like with this one, I don't know why this hasn't been solved. I don't know why no one's come forward with this information about this person. I find it a bit weird.
It's always strange when people go missing and they're never reported. It happens.
Yeah,
it happens all
does.
The time.
A lot, yeah.
And then, then you find out, okay, well, they were found dead later on. And people are like, oh, we just thought that she went to go start a new life somewhere or, whatever it might be. No, so it's very strange.
Yeah. It is very strange. And I feel sad because at her funeral, there was nobody, it wasn't attended by anyone she knew. It was only police officers, local councillors, reporters. And that's really sad. I find that really, really sad. In August 2011, investigators made a fresh appeal on this case for some information and to announce that they were going to be reopening the investigation. Okay, so this is from 1981 to 2011.
Okay.
So one of the spokesman for North Yorkshire Police said that somebody somewhere must know this woman's name. It's possible that over the years, a relationship between someone who was suspicious about a friend or relative has now changed. So now is the time to come forward and allow this woman to rest in peace. But it was in 2012 that detectives had last actively investigated this case. Okay. The woman's body was exhumed from the place where she was laid to rest. And they tried to gather DNA evidence from her body. Now, they always thought that there was foul play involved, but there was never enough evidence to actually officially categorize this as a full-on murder. Now, the DNA material was collected from her thighs and from her teeth, okay?
Okay.
They did manage to get a full DNA profile of the woman. So they've got a full 100% DNA profile. Now, at the Moulton Cemetery, once they had collected all the DNA that they could, she was reburied in the same place, and the Reverend Rudkin performed another short service, and the investigators that were working on the case there were also all in attendance. And Reverend Rudkin said that it was the first time that he had ever conducted a service like this. And I thought it was really sweet. His little quote in the newspaper said that God loves her even if we don't know who she was. It may give closure to one family if and when this body is identified. So the police then uploaded this DNA profile to the National DNA Database. The profile was then compared to samples from 5 different families. 2 of those came forward of their own accord. The others, the police went and found, thinking that they could potentially be related to this woman. But so far, no match has ever been found. Police hope that with people nowadays researching their heritage a bit more, maybe somebody has got gaps in their timeline of their family, and that might be how this lady could slot right in to where they, it's happening a lot. People, I think
we've
people
talked about
nowadays
this. No, we've talked about this before, where this is much more common in the United States, where and it makes sense because the United States has only been around for 200 and whatever 40 some years, right? 245 years or whatever it might be. And so as Americans, we have this sense of trying to understand like where we come from, who we are. And that's by going back and looking at our genealogy and trying to understand the generations before us and how they led to where we are now. You don't get that nearly as much as in the UK because, for example, I mean, if you go back and you look at yours, I know you have very interesting heritage and things that where people have been and lived.
Yeah.
But you can say for the most part, if I go back 4 or 5 generations, guess what? They're from the UK.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't think there's necessarily that sense of knowing or wonderment of where you came from because you know.
Yeah. And of course, the laws are different. Over there, your police force and your law enforcement can use the DNA on those databases. They can have access to them. Over here, you can't. So you can't you can't test the DNA on those databases that were sent off. It doesn't. We don't allow that over here.
Right. Right.
So that's obviously another thing, is that we can't just have access like you guys can to try and track criminals, how they caught like the Night Stalker and that sort of stuff. We don't have that option here, which is also a bit.
Yeah.
But then I wonder if we're a little bit in England. I wonder if we're a little bit more concerned. I personally wouldn't send my DNA off to some genealogy place. I wouldn't do it. That's my DNA. It's not going. You're not having it on your records to use and test as you want.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
I'm not sending my DNA off anywhere.
In 50, 60, 70, 100 years, there could be another Cherry because you sent your DNA off.
Yeah, and they've cloned me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, you know what? There's a crime scene that turns up and, there's your DNA all over it. No, not doing it. So I don't trust stuff like that. But I mean, people do it, and I personally, I just don't trust that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So police then basically stuck again. So what they did was they decided that in 2012 they were going to announce that they were reopening this case and to basically go through some questions that people seem to ask all the time. So they put this they put it up online, and they had a really good response. There were a lot of comments on there, a lot of people asking questions, but a lot of the same questions being asked. So this I thought was genius. Because so many people were so interested in this, they decided to share the most common questions that were given to the cold case investigation team. Okay.
Yeah.
So these are the most common questions. This is quite helpful because these are some of the questions that I actually had straight off. So they said, could commercial DNA services be used? And they said that some online companies do offer DNA analysis of people who are interested in their family history. Customers have to opt in to share this information, and the pool of data in the UK is relatively small of people that have opted in. So they're looking into whether commercial DNA matching services could help us identify the woman, but there's potentially other information out there that could help us. So the next question was, were the national security reasons cited by the caller valid? And they said that this was explored at the time and investigators believed it wasn't true. Tracing the call would obviously be much easier nowadays if it was made from a phone box due to advances in technology, intelligence systems, and obviously CCTV. They would have likely been able to record the journey to the phone box from the phone box, and they would be able to trace this person. But obviously most of this technology we have now didn't exist in 1981, and therefore this caller has never been traced. Now, another question, why haven't her children come forward? We know she gave birth. Why haven't they come forward?
I saw this. How do we know this? How do we know this?
How do we know what?
That she gave birth at some point.
Because of her pelvis. Because you can tell the difference between a woman's pelvis after giving birth, and because of the movement in her pelvis, they believe that she had given birth more than twice at least.
That is really interesting.
So that's why, because the pelvis opens up and it doesn't move back after. So they know that she's given birth. Yeah.
Okay. So if you're listening, don't laugh at me because I'm a dummy. But I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Well, they answered and said, we know that she had 2 or possibly 3 children thanks to the forensic analysis at the time. Yeah. However, it is possible that these children could have died in childbirth. They could have died in infancy. They could have been taken into care or never found out the identity of their mother. So all of these scenarios have been looked at by investigators. So the next one says, a caller said that the body was in a Rose Bay willow herb patch. Not many people know what willow herb is. Was that used to narrow down the search for that person? So this is a plant that you would look at. You probably wouldn't know what it's called. It's like you say, it's like a meadow flower, a wild flower, something that, unless you're sort of green fingered, I had to look it up. You had to look it up. So they said that yes, this knowledge was used in the search for him. It would suggest that he knew about nature, but in rural communities, lots of people do. So it wasn't specific enough to target the investigation in a certain area. Plus, it was near a main road, suggesting that he could have been from out of the area and just found it. The plant was helpful to establish how long the remains had been in the location. Okay. So in 2013, the woman's DNA profile was uploaded to the database, but any potential matches or results had not been released. So the next question on the list was, why couldn't the DNA evidence taken in 2012 generate a match? Why not? And so they came back and said, look, there's no match currently on the police DNA database. There's nothing to link it to that it's similar to. Now, this DNA database was established in 1996. So it would rely on one of her relatives either committing a crime and joining the database, or allowing their DNA to be used in this pool, which is unlikely. Police obviously can't use the techniques around familial DNA searches because they don't have anything to compare it to at the moment. The techniques were centered on the inheritance of the male chromosome, which actually affects how it can be used in the case. So actually at college at the moment, I've actually been learning about DNA and about how DNA from a mother and a father was inherited into the child, and which parts of the DNA the next person will take on, and which, like eye color, hair color, and that there's different types of it. There is the DNA that is inherited, which is, say, the stuff that you can see, like hair color, eye color. But then there's also the DNA that you can't see. So there's other things that you can inherit through the DNA coming through into making you, that is something that was like characteristics, stuff that you can't actually see. So it's very interesting to think that they're looking for the male chromosome, particularly in this. So interesting.
Yeah, very.
The last kind of thing in this case that I could find was in 2023, the Scottish Press and Journal magazine featured an article by a lady called Susie Macaulay, who wrote about some potential connections to the Northeast. Now, they actually brought these to the attention of the North Yorkshire and Cleveland Major Investigation Team's Cold Case Unit. And a guy called Archie Moody, his mum, Margaret, went missing from her home in Motherwell in the summer of 1977. And somebody else called Penwell Sheriffs went missing from her home in Speen Bridge in 1958. Now, a guy called Jim Lawson came forward to say that Penwell Sheriffs was his sister. Okay. When he was 4, she disappeared from her home in Speen Bridge, leaving behind 2 young sons. Now, he is still looking for what happened to his sister because he still has no idea what happened to her. He says she was vulnerable. She was a petite lady. She was 25 years old, had 2 children. She seemed to literally vanish into thin air one afternoon in 1958. Okay. That one, I think, was a bit too far away from our 1981 find, I think.
Yeah.
But her husband, a guy called David Sheriffs, was a railway signalman, and he told police that he'd been on a night shift. When he got home and went to bed that afternoon, when he woke up, she'd just gone, just completely disappeared into thin air. So obviously the police looked into that, and they said that there's a 1 in a million chance that these so-called nude in the nettles lady could be either of these missing women, but they are keen to help people with the DNA. Since they took the DNA sample, a lot of families have come forward to say that she kind of fits the age range, the children bearing, that kind of thing, of our family member who went missing in this date, this date, this date. And the police have slowly been they got the DNA match. They're slowly kind of getting through it. And they said that they're happy to help anybody using this DNA because it could be that the one family comes forward and it's them. So there are similarities between the body that was found in the Willow Herbs, between Margaret Doherty and Penwell Sheriffs. They were all small women. They all had children, and they're all in the same right age bracket. Now, there was talk, which there always is, that this lady could have been one of the victims of Jack the Ripper.
Excuse me?
Yeah, how they've come to that conclusion, I'm not quite sure, but it's something that's worth mentioning. There are some threads that I read online that were trying to find similarities between her body and the area that she went missing into the Jack the Ripper stuff. I think he gets pulled into everything, to be honest. I think he gets pulled into absolutely everything. I don't know why.
No.
But it always seems to be that Jack the Ripper gets a mention in all sorts. So although there was a lot of similarity,
I'm going to say that's insane. I'm going to say that is insane. That is absolutely insane. No.
Although there's a lot of similarities between obviously the 2 women that went missing and also this lady, so far the lady in the Willow Herbs has still not yet been identified, and this case is still unsolved over 40 years later.
Jeez. That's crazy.
But it frustrates me, cases like this, because I feel that someone somewhere will either be keeping quiet for a reason, or it's the things that they're talking about with her, the certain quirks that she's got, the fact that she's had dentistry done, that kind of thing, and the fact that she was naked, I believe that was somebody that's killed her. I think you can't really rule that out. It's the most likely scenario. Someone has taken all of her clothes off, everything that would possibly identify her. They've taken it all off. It's gone. But somewhere there are children without their mum, for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. So this is my thought.
Okay.
And this is my thought from earlier, and I don't think my thought has changed. I have this feeling that this might be a sex worker who was murdered. I think and the reason why we haven't heard from family and we don't have anyone that's been reported missing, I have a feeling that maybe she had cut ties with her family at some point.
Okay.
In the past, before her, of course, death. And I feel like she might have been caught up in drugs. I get this sense that she might have been caught up in drugs, that she might have been a sex worker, and that she really had cut ties with any known, with any close family members.
Okay.
I just get the sense this seems like one of those, a case like that, right? And usually when
I can see why you say that.
When you find, I can think of numerous unnamed women or even men who have been found in situations like this, and they tend to be sex workers. The closest thing I can think of here would be possibly like the Long Island serial killer.
Yeah.
Where he would drop the bodies off in very similar.
Yeah.
Well, of course, it wasn't this Willow, but very similar places where a lot of overgrowth, places where people normally wouldn't be stopping and checking out because it would be very hard to get into that area.
Mm.
So you think about it, you dump a body like where this Willow herb is, you're not going to have a whole bunch of people walking through the area.
No.
So you have this sense that, okay, well, I don't have to worry about someone coming across this body right away.
Interesting. It's very interesting you've mentioned that. See, now I don't think it was a sex worker. I think that the state of her teeth and her oral hygiene, I don't think she would make a successful sex worker. And so just my thoughts. I don't think that that's the case. I don't know why, but my gut feeling when I'm reading through this stuff, I think it was a partner killing. There's a word for that, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's a something side.
Yeah.
So I think it was a partner killing. I think this was somebody who something had happened, and I think that she had been disposed of there because that's where that person knew. I think they've taken everything off of her to identify her because she would have been identifiable from her stuff, and I believe that people would have known who she was. So I have a feeling I wouldn't say it's somebody who's like affluent because of it, but she must have had some kind of income to be able to get that dentistry done. So I have a feeling this is somebody's wife something's happened and she's ended up being dropped out there because for whatever reason she was killed. But I don't think it was a sex worker. I think this is not domestic violence, but a domestic situation. I think it was something domestic. And I think that people, had they have known that she was gone without explanation, they maybe would be a little bit suspicious that she'd disappeared from the family, or the husband had said, oh, she just left me, or whatever.
Yeah.
I think there's something like that. I think is more likely. I think that somebody somewhere is suspicious of someone, or was suspicious of somebody at that time, because they would be in their 70s now, maybe. She was between sort of 25 and 35, they said. So she would be if she was like 25 at the time she was killed, we're looking at her being 65, 70 now?
Yeah.
So chances are the person that did this is still alive.
Do you get the sense that she was from around that area?
Yeah, because I think that somebody would have had to have known those willow herbs were there. I don't think it was just a chance thing that they were driving around trying to find somewhere to drop her off. I think she was somewhat local, Either that or the person who killed her knows that area, because otherwise why put her there? And
if she was somewhere local, then I mean, you're gonna be assuming that she was from an area that had. I'm not talking a huge metropolitan area, but a significant population. So a place like Scarborough, York, maybe Middlesbrough, something like that, right?
Yeah,
because she's not going to be coming from what was the town
Ripon. It's called. Yeah,
she's not going to go missing from Ripon, and then someone exactly. You're not going to go missing from one of these small towns, villages, and
no one's going to say anything. That's right, exactly. Yeah. But I do think that's just my own thought. I would love to be commissioned to work on this case and to see what other information the police have, because they're not giving us everything. 100% they're not giving us everything.
No.
They haven't released where her body was found, and there's other stuff. So I would love to work on this case, because I believe that this could be solved. I really do, because I think that someone has either got suspicions that something went on in their family with a family member, or it's something, like back in the day, there were certain things like that my grandmother would say, no, we don't talk about that. My grandfather's sister was murdered by her husband, and it wasn't talked about in our family. We didn't talk about it in front of Granddad. It was very hush hush, and I've since tried to look it up, and I can't find anything about it. But that was like in our family, that was you don't mention it, you don't talk about it. It's just how it was. So I wonder if this is the same. I wonder if this is the same for somebody's family somewhere, that we just don't talk about. Those kids' mum. We don't talk about her.
Do we know if these willow herbs, if they're cut down? I
think it's a wild area. I think it's just like a wild area, and I think they just grow up.
They just die off, and then
and then regrow and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm, I love doing map, and so I'm doing like street view, like looking through the area. I'm like, there's not. I mean, it's been 40 some years.
It's different now. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, 42 years. So you still see some of this willow herb in the area along this little. I'm assuming that it's this small little. I don't even want to call it a road, but this small road.
Yeah.
That she was found off of. You can see some of this willow herb. But it's like real close to the road.
Yeah, it is very close to the road. Yeah. So, I mean, it could be that she was just, they pulled up in a car outside, rolled her out, and then pulled the herbs back, and then just drove off again. It could be something as simple as that.
This caller is the caller is still very strange to me.
Yes.
Like, how did they find her? You said there were 3 sets of tracks.
Yeah.
Which almost is like
to and from the body. But I wonder if somebody's just discovered her by accident, discovered the bones, and then has rang up and said, there's a body there. I don't want to give my name because I don't want to be associated with this, but there's a body there. I always say to people, if you see something, report it. Even if you do it anonymously, just report it, because then you've reported it, and then the police can start looking at it. Even if you don't give your name or how you found something or why you found something, just do it anonymously if you can.
Yeah, it's just strange. Like, how
did
they
strange,
come
isn't
across
it?
It's easier if it was, if the body was still intact and it was still decomposing, and they
it wasn't
the decomposition.
That's right.
That makes more sense. Like, okay, I smelled something, so then I just went to go look for see what it was,
and that's what the police said.
But to go and say, I just happened to. Walking through this willow herb, and I found bones. It's very strange.
Didn't happen, and that's what the police said. The police said that the way that the body was concealed, you wouldn't have found it by accident. You would have had to have been in there, like looking.
And this whole thing about I can't give you my name because of national security is bullshit. I mean, it's
but
bullshit,
what a weird thing to say, though. That's a weird thing to say. I wouldn't say that's a general thing for people to say. I can't because of national security. I can't do that. So I think that's a weird thing in the first place to say.
Were police able to track where calls originated in 1981?
No, not at all. They couldn't do it. Shame, isn't it? Like, now the technology is so much better.
So we don't even know how long it had been between they found the bones and they made the call.
Nope.
So, I mean,
it could have been months. It could have been years. He could have been frustrated that no one had found her and decided to call it in so that his crime got discovered. You don't know. He could have moved out of the area and then come back and still no one's found her.
Yeah. And they didn't give her a specific area. They said, okay, I was in Willow herb.
Yeah, they won't give. They know, obviously, they know the specific area, but they won't. All they'll say is that it was near that top road, close to the main road.
No, I'm saying, but the caller didn't say exactly where it was.
No, well,
right?
he told them exactly where it was, exactly where they'd find the body. So they went straight there to find it. So, and that's how they found it, because he told them where to look. So so he knew exactly where the body was,
which is it indicates they're very familiar with the area.
Yes, exactly. It's same to me. Yeah, 100%.
Because if I wasn't from the area and I just came across it, I wouldn't. I mean, I would be able to kind of just describe where it was, right?
Yeah,
roughly. But I wouldn't be able to say, I'd be like, well, yeah, it was off of what was it, A170?
A170, yeah.
But from there, I'd be like, yeah, then there's like some little road, and you kind of go back, and there's fields, and there's some willow herb, and it's a big area.
And the fact that he said in the willow herb, not just in the brush or in the flowers, or there's some bushes there and she's in the bushes. He actually said under the willow herb. So he knew
normally you'd say in the weeds,
in the bushes,
in the underbrush, whatever you might say. You don't go and say, oh, it's in willow herb.
No. Unless it was something common like roses, or, something that everybody knows.
Dandelions, daisies, sunflowers, right?
Yeah. Yes,
not willow herb.
Strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wonder if you give a poll to, say, like, I don't know, 20 adults, I wonder how many of them would accurately guess that will accurately tell you that was a willow herb. I don't think it would be.
No, I could see people say, oh, I don't know, lilac. Or,
yeah.
Stuff like that. But no, I mean, like, looking at it, I'm like, I wouldn't be able to tell you what that was.
No, me either. I had to look it up. So so that is this week's case.
Huh. This one's very interesting.
It was. I knew you'd find this one interesting, and it's frustrating to me that it's still unsolved 40 odd years later.
Right.
And I think it could be. I think it could be solved. I think this could be solved.
Yeah, I think so too. But this is gonna be a DNA case. I think this is something that has to be.
Someone's gonna have to come forward with information on this one.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think they're going to stumble across the answer.
Police are going to be hamstrung just because of the privacy laws in the UK. They're going to be hamstrung because of the lack of DNA to compare it to.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get a situation where you're going to be able to do, the family DNA or genealogy and be able to go, okay, well, they're definitely related to this person. Now let's see.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it's going to be difficult. I still feel like it's going to be DNA that would solve it.
Yeah.
If it was a family member that was like, you know what, I wonder what happened to Aunt Lisa.
Yes.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
You would think that by now someone would have come forward and said, hey, I had Aunt Lisa. She disappeared in the 70s, and I would just wonder what happened to her.
Maybe until the death of somebody. Maybe they can't do that just yet.
I mean, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. But it's worrisome because this is an old case. It's going to get older.
Yeah.
People that did know this woman, they're getting older.
That's right.
People die. I mean, that's a fact of life. We live, we die.
That's right.
So people are going to get older, and then the number of people that could possibly have known her is going to get smaller and smaller as the years go on.
Yeah, you're right. It's sad. It's a sad thing.
So this is one of those cases, like if you know of anyone who, disappeared.
Yeah, in your family, if you're from that area, just look it up.
Just look it up. Just
ask.
It's not that hard.
You never know.
Ask questions.
Yeah.
Ask questions.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be that person who was once in your life or once in your parents' life or grandparents' life who kind of just dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
They could be fine. They could be just living their life somewhere else, or
they could have
been a victim. They could have been her. Exactly. Ask questions and look into it. It won't hurt.
No, exactly.
It won't hurt.
I totally agree. So well, I'll keep looking into this, and I will keep you updated with anything I find. So, fancy lightening the mood a little bit?
I would. How about some dumb criminal?
Let's go.
Hey, Captain Stupid Poopy Pants. Use a dummy.
All right, Chair. I think we can all admit that teenagers especially teenage boys, are idiots.
Oh, right? Okay. Yeah.
I'm allowed to say this because I once was a teenage boy who was an idiot.
Yes.
Okay. One thing that teenage boys have a fascination with is fire.
Penises.
For whatever reason.
Fire. Yeah.
Yeah. For whatever, we love fire for whatever reason. And we like to set stuff on fire. We like to play with fire. And I remember a friend would, more than one friend that would often get like an aerosol spray and a lighter and like create, like the flamethrower. Yeah, because look at this, it's cool.
I remember the boys at school doing that too.
Well, a teenager in the city or the town of Ephrata, I believe it is, Pennsylvania, learned a very valuable lesson in the dangers of fire. Okay. So the boy was playing with a lighter and an aerosol spray, and it ended up leading to an apartment fire.
Oh, God.
Which has left 3 families displaced from their homes.
Oh, no.
After a fire tore through the apartment building.
Oh, dear.
So the police department in Ephrata say that the boy was in a garage when he was playing with the lighter and aerosol spray, which quickly was engulfed by fire and spread to multiple apartment buildings.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so 3 of the families in one of the apartment buildings are displaced due to the electric service lines and electric meters being melted by the fire. So it was a huge fire.
Oh, big fire.
Right? Yeah, and then fire officials were quickly able to determine that the fire had been started by the teen who was recklessly playing with a lighter and aerosol can.
Idiot.
So this ended up leading to items in the garage catching fire. And like I said, at least 3 buildings destroyed in the fire. Luckily, luckily that was it. I mean, because this could have been...
Oh, yeah, it could have killed people.
I mean, it was already serious. It could have been worse.
Yeah.
So teenage boy who is nameless, you are a dummy.
You are.
And if you're at home and you're listening to this, don't play with aerosol cans and lighters.
Don't play with fire. Don't do that.
Don't be a dummy. Don't end up on our show, people.
No, don't do it.
No. Yeah. So.
Oh dear.
Seriously, I mean, it's so dumb to be doing. Very dangerous.
Yeah.
It's
not going to end
3
well.
families that have nowhere to live.
That's
you have 3
right.
people 3 families that have no home now because you decided it was going to be fun to play with fire.
Dumbass.
Fire's dangerous, people.
It is. It is indeed.
It's very dangerous.
It is.
He's lucky he didn't lose his life with how quickly the garage went up. Yeah.
Yeah. He's lucky someone wasn't killed and didn't have a murder charge or something like that on his hands.
I mean, he could have. I mean, I'm sure that he's going to be charged with something. As a juvenile, he's going to. He's not going to get, prison time or whatever. But he's absolutely lucky that no one got seriously hurt.
Got hurt.
No one
That's
died.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, thank you for that. That is it for this week. We will be back next week and it'll be Morgan's case next week. So between now and then, you can catch us on our social media and be nice.
And bye.